What has been a win, a non-scale victory win for you? What's happened for you that's a non-scale victory?
Well, I non-scale victory, uh, um, overcoming dessert when there's no need to eat it.
Okay, that's the jumping off point, girlfriend. Okay, that's the jumping off point because take
Mm.
your win of not having the sweet afters and
Yesterday, when I went to the surgery to get weighed, and I put on 3 kilograms since the 19th of April, I didn't get any urge of any kind for any sugar, any afters, any cravings, any baked beans, any bread at all. And that's a major victory because I would have used my weight gain in the past to have an excuse to eat um, the sugar cravings yesterday, but nothing of the kind happened, and not even any temptation. Coach Rose, I had nothing to fight. Yeah,
that is so major.
yeah,
But so, Sandra, what does
mm,
that insight give you? You're leaving your doctor's office. You're not triggered to go find some sweets or some junk
mm,
food to
mm,
compensate or to feel
mm,
better after you see the increase in your weight on the doctor scale.
yeah.
What does that tell you about the path that you're currently on?
I'm on a good path, a victory path. January, I was eating beans and losing. February, I was eating beans and losing. So it was a kind of a let me go back to eating beans and losing as well as a comfort food kind of thing. Um, but yesterday, when I put on the 3 kilograms and the nurse took my measurements in centimeters, I left the surgery, doctor's surgery, office, and I went straight home, ordered some sausages, ordered some eggs and some beef, and I had my usual meal yesterday, and I enjoyed it.
Well, that is so profound.
Mm,
You're on your way. Can't
mm,
nothing stop you now, girl. Can't
that's right.
nothing stop you. Hi, friends. This is Rose AJ in the studio once again with Miss Sandra to have a discussion to see how the last 2 weeks for Miss Sandra has been on part three of her journey to carnivore. Miss Sandra, how you doing, girlfriend?
I am doing good. Doing
Good.
fine.
What has been a win, a non-scale victory win for you? What's happened for you that's a non-scale victory?
Well, I non-scale victory, overcoming dessert when there's no need to eat it.
Okay, that's the jumping off point, girlfriend. Okay, that's the jumping off point because in the last the last take that we did, we were having a discussion about you doing a couple of different or wanting to try a couple of different protocols to help you with your process of
Yeah.
keeping bread out of your system,
Yes,
keeping the baked beans out of your system.
that's
And
happened.
then my concern for you was is that you did address that bread was probably your first love or your gateway to addiction,
Mm,
but you didn't know that there was other foods
mm,
that could trigger it as well, and you
yeah,
discovered that baked beans was a passion of yours also.
yes.
You're being committed to removing that.
Ha,
And in
ha,
our
ha.
last discussion, Miss Sandra, you were talking about some of the things that you were trying that were working for you, like the
Mhm.
sausage, the eggs, and the cheese coming
Yes.
to life and having avocado also brought up allulose, and we had a brief
Mm,
discussion about my concern for you
mm,
about addressing or bringing in the sweetness and not
yes.
getting rid of it totally. So take
Mm.
your win of not having the sweet afters and
Okay. To be honest, from the beginning of June, the only carbohydrate craving that I've had was being, we call it over here, apple crumble dessert with custard, which is very sweet. And that came up twice. And the last time it came up, I had it, but didn't buy anymore. And yesterday, when I went to the surgery to get weighed, and I put on 3 kilograms since the 19th of April, I didn't get any urge of any kind for any sugar, any afters, any cravings, any baked beans, any bread at all. And that's a major victory because I would have used my weight gain in the past to have an excuse to eat um, the sugar cravings yesterday, but nothing of the kind happened, and not even any temptation. Coach Rose, I had nothing to fight. Yeah,
That is so major. But
yeah,
so you had went on eBay and purchased allulose. Did you
yeah.
receive your shipment of allulose? And
I
did you
did. I,
start using it with the ricotta that you were talking about?
yeah, I used it with a bit of Greek yogurt, um, but but it didn't crave my sugar addiction as I thought it would do.
Okay.
Um, so it's mainly I've got a pot of yogurt still, and I still got the allulose. So I'm not having it as a every minute snack sugary thing.
Okay.
Um, but I did have it when I ate the first box of the apple crumble. There was a bit of crumbs over the next day, and I put it with the allulose to try and get it more sweeter. And since that um, finishing of the crumble dessert, I've not brought any more um, after dessert. You may call it an American dessert in America.
So, Sandra, what does
Mm,
that insight give you? You're leaving your doctor's office. You're not triggered to go find some sweets or some junk
mm,
food to
mm,
compensate or to feel
mm.
better after you see the increase in your weight on the doctor scale.
Yeah,
What does that tell you about the path that you're currently on?
I'm on a good path, a victory path, because back in, as I said in a couple of videos before, that around the 19th of April was when I went on the baked beans binge to compensate my weight gain. When I thought in January I was eating beans and losing, February I was eating beans and losing. So it was a kind of a let me go back to eating beans and losing as well as a comfort food kind of thing. Um, but yesterday, when I put on the 3 kilograms and the nurse took my measurements in centimeters, I left the surgery, doctor's surgery office, and I went straight home, ordered some sausages, ordered some eggs, and some beef. And I had my usual meal yesterday, and I enjoyed it.
Well, that is so profound.
Mm,
You're on your way. Can't
mm,
nothing stop you now, girl. Can't
that's right.
nothing stop you.
Yeah.
So, would you say that you're in a better emotional, mental space with
Yes, I am.
regardless of what the numbers are doing that
Yes.
um
Yeah.
so are you realizing that food is not going to help you through any process?
Yeah, because what I said to myself recently, I don't put sugar or sweeteners in my physical tea that I have regular in the day. Why do I need dessert? And,
And so
and
how is that unfolding for you then? Because I know you said that you didn't have sugar in your tea for like 4 or 5 years now,
mm,
right?
yeah,
So if that's unfolding and that's become a permanent thing with no sugar
mm,
in your tea,
mm,
how can you continue to support yourself with removing the sugars? Because can you give us, refresh the audience if this is their first time tuning in
mm,
to your story? Can you give us a couple of things that you are affected with your health, like any diagnosis, like diabetes,
okay.
mobility issues, that kind of stuff?
I have eyesight lost in my left eye, no vision at all from my left eye, and my right eye is impaired vision, which means I cannot see in normal circumstances. And my right and left knee is bone on bone knee. I got no cartilage in my knees whatsoever, which means I cannot walk in the usual manner. And I have type 2 diabetes being controlled with food and exercise. Um, but I was eating wrong things over time because I had a hidden um, reason to eating those foods, and it was to deal with a complication of mine when I was young woman. That I said, right, I'm going to eat bad food um, to hide my beauty, but recently it's time for me to step out and eat the foods I should be eating to be healthy and no longer hide my beauty in any way, shape, and form. And since stepping out and doing that, I've discovered things that I thought I wasn't addicted to, such as the sugar, the breads, the baked beans, and things like that. So giving them up has shown how much I was addicted to them for no reason or for whatever reason.
But you were addicted to those foods for a reason. I don't want you to downplay the importance of that
Mm,
because it led you to other health complications, being
mm,
primarily diabetes. And if
yeah,
you had vision loss, that
mm,
may have played into that as well.
it did.
But I tell a lot of people my story from the beginning so
Mm,
that they can understand that it's not just the choices they've made in the last 2 or 3 years, right? It's
mm,
been a lifetime of choices. So
mm,
mine started at 3.5. It was unconsciously that I chose food, and then it
mm,
began to be conscious, right? Because it was a comfort, it was my best friend, it was a number,
mm,
to numb my emotions and stuff like that.
yeah.
And then as you're speaking, where you're talking about that you're removing the sugar, um is there anything that's coming up now that you're removing the barriers that brought you comfort throughout the years? Is there any emotions, any anger, or any sadness that removing these foods are bringing up for you? Because a lot of times it's like a spiritual
Mm,
embarkment when you're removing the covers and the
mm,
layers. And then what the food has been suppressing or drugs have been suppressing, it
mm,
comes to light. So, I'm continually working on mine, right? I
mm.
thought I was done with this, I thought I was done with that, but it comes up in the strangest places and at the strangest times and with the strangest people.
Realistically, I've got to be realistic with myself and say, right, Sandra, you've never had a healthy eating pattern that you've stuck to long term. You've always been 1 week this, 1 day that, then for 6 months' time, you try again. But deep down, my heart wasn't into it because the backbone of it was hide behind food. So, this is the realistic time of my life now to say, right, Sandra, um, you put on the 3 kilograms since 9th of April, which is 8 weeks now, but you need to come up with a strategy long term for the next 6 months where you're going to be eating and being consistent. So it's not to add back in baked beans or cookies or candies or ice cream and desserts, is to realistically say, right, Sandra, this is how you're going to be eating for the next 6 months or so, realistically, and you're going to enjoy it as well. and you're gonna slowly and surely find the way that suits you, that suits me, or should say, you know. And that's what I'm doing right now. So that's why I didn't jump into right and back to baked beans or back to the ice cream yesterday, because there's no need. It's just that I'm still finding out what is going to suit me long term. And because I said to myself, right, in 8 weeks, it's been 3.5 kilograms. That's about, I don't know how many, 7 pounds. I'm not sure the difference. The 2.2 per kilograms per pounds. Um, it's I'm doing okay. I haven't had any junk food per se, apart from the um afters that I've had recently in the beginning of June. But the way I acted yesterday and felt yesterday was a tangible way moving forward. It wasn't on the victory, it wasn't on the scales, but for me it was victory, because I've
Amen.
got the dollars in my bank account. I
Yeah.
wasn't poor in the sense I couldn't buy it, but I didn't want it or need it.
And you made the conscious decision and you were aware and you went home and you ate what you would
Yeah,
normally eat.
yeah. I ordered what
So
I normally ordered. On the same app, it would be the boxes of the chocolates and the boxes of the ice cream. But I didn't. My mind and my heart and my belly wasn't craving for it in any way. And that day, yesterday, I had a very good day and had a very good meal. So I wasn't upset. I wasn't angry. I wasn't saying, right, let me have it tomorrow. So I'm not saving it up to have
oh,
it tomorrow. If you know what
good,
I'm saying,
good.
yeah.
So are you taking things at 6 months at a time, or are you trying to take things one day at a time and figure it
More
out?
more one day at a time, because the way I'm eating now, I'm eating the eggs still. I'm eating the butter, but not as much. I'm eating the ground minced beef, regular and regular beef, you know. So I'm not eating anything at the blue lastminute.com thing.
Okay, now
Mm,
lastminute.com, I love it. So you had mentioned the PSFM
yeah.
protocol. Can you
Mm.
tell us if you tried that?
Yeah, the protein sparing modified fast is basically when you eat leaner, or the leanest cuts of meat rather than the fattiest. But listen to my body. I don't think I'm ready for that in one big go. Like, so, as I said to you yesterday, when I put on 3.5 kilograms, I still had um, um, fatty cuts of beef and pork is today and yesterday. So it wasn't. I'm not. My body is not ready to go into protein sparing modified fat, because if I go and do it and crash, I don't want to end up back at square one again.
And when
I
you
want to.
say crash, because we talked about 3 or 4 different things that you were going to try in our
Mm,
last
mm,
segment. So that's why I was bringing it up to see if you had did it. And I'm glad that you didn't, because
mm.
that was a lot to embark on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so will you keep that in your back pocket for maybe a
yeah. Yeah, because
future
what I'm
thing?
what I plan to do is meet my protein needs daily, unless I'm fasting, obviously. Yeah. So I'm not gonna go on zero, nothing to lose the weight. What I need to do is meet my protein needs while not overeating on any stuff, because I'm a sedentary lady. So I sit down in my armchair over there, and that's my basic day, because I can't walk like you can and like other people. I can't go out walking normal, you see. So but what I do is in the morning when I get up, depending on how my arms feel, I do dumbbell for 20 minutes. Um, and I'm using the 5 kilograms dumbbells right now for a good workout, or the 2.5 kilograms as a general all round workout where I'm not overdoing it. So up to 5 days can go by where I don't use the 5 kilogram one. But once my arms are strong enough, like yesterday, I did the 20 minutes non-stop of the 5 kilogram ones.
You go. Now,
Yeah.
Sandra, that is, were you doing 15 minutes just a couple of weeks ago? And now
I
you've
was
moved it up?
yeah, no, because I've always done it well for the past few months, 20 minutes if I can make it. But sometimes I stop 10 minutes in, see what time it is, 15 minutes in. But yesterday, I more or less beat it because when I checked, it was about 8 seconds left. So, and
Nice.
that was with the heavier kilograms one.
Also, you had mentioned grounding. Grounding. Are
Yes,
you still
yeah.
doing that?
Still doing. I was in there this morning. I was on the concrete part because Clint Ober says concrete is good enough. And I think to do with my laundry this morning. So I stayed on the concrete. But I love to get my wheelchair, put it in the grass bit, and get my feet, both of them on the floor, on the ground, I should say, the grass, and put as early as possible. And when the neighbours are still sleeping, is when I talk to God out there. I look to the trees. I look to the birds that He's made. I look to the sunshine coming from the east. You know, I look to I look at the breeze blowing the things around, and I talk to God of what the creation He's made, while my feet is on His ground. We are standing on holy ground. You know, I kind of feel sometimes how Moses felt when God said to him, "Take off thy shoes from thy feet, you're on holy ground." Um, I've never really ate healthy long term, as I said. Yeah, so and I want to know now, God, how you want me to have a long term, because I'm not a person to go cold turkey and stay cold turkey. Yeah, I'd rather find my balance. So will I be eating veg in future? Probably yes. Will I be eating some rice in future? Probably yes. Because at the end of the day, God is the one that created me and knows that what is right for me. You know, I
So
can't.
if you reintroduce foods in the future,
Mm,
right,
mm,
that may have a negative impact on your health, and I'm saying this only
mm,
because of the carbohydrate content
mhm.
in the rice per se. How would you mitigate or how would you lessen the damage
Yeah,
if you've been healthy for, like, let's say you've followed a plan for 4 weeks, Sandra's
yeah.
plan, and then it rolls into 6 months, then it rolls into 6 years.
Mm,
How would you reduce the impact that having that bowl of rice or whatever you're going to ingest?
mm.
Because I think carbohydrates affect people differently,
They do.
right?
They do.
But we already know that it's
Mm,
gonna impact you negatively because
mm.
you've been diagnosed with a health condition
Yeah.
that's impacted by carbs.
For me, my first goal is to get to 90 days of carnivore, like what I'm doing now without the afters and the desserts, obviously. Yeah. Because I've never had that happen before in my life. And from there, I can say, right, Sandra, you've spent your 90 days. Where next? What direction next? Because everyone can get to their Rome in their Rome way. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautifully said.
Yeah. Like Paul Saladino gets to it his way. Yeah. I'm not gonna go with honey. So I'm not gonna say, right, Paul has honey. I'm like, no, that's not for me. Everyone has got their personal, for example, um, in my cupboards in my kitchen now, I've got plenty of lentils because when I ate them in 2021, I enjoyed them. Yeah. And I don't feel guilty with them in there because if starvation happens, I've got them there. You see?
It's better
And
to have something versus nothing, I get it.
yes, and I don't go like after I call with you now. I don't go and make a lentil soup. Yeah, there's times where you have to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. You know.
So, well, that's what I was trying to get at, Sandra. Being
Mm,
wise, paying
mm,
attention to yourself, knowing your health conditions could be impacted by the foods that you're eating, and
yeah,
you're creating your personal blueprint. You're trying
yeah,
to get to your Rome in your own Rome way,
yeah,
as you so beautifully said.
yeah. I know my body and what foods affect me because I have one of those prick things you put your fingers in, and it's very accurate in getting my blood sugars down from December of last year to April this year. Yeah, so I know I'm on the right way of doing things. Yeah, so and it would have been less if I had less beans in January and February. You see. And the nurse told me yesterday, goes, Sandra, well done. Your numbers came down since last time. Yeah. So I'm on the right path. So my plan is not to have beans every day in 90 days' time. I need to come up with an eating way, right? Let's say, for example, yeah, because I'm West Indian, yeah, I have rice and peas, yeah. I won't be having it every day like I used to, and I won't be having my king size bowls and platter plates like I used to. But maybe have once in a while a couple of tablespoons. That will not bring back um things like in a negative way too much. Now, if I went to Jamaica now and a 6 month holiday, that's another story. You get where I'm
Okay.
coming from.
Okay. Yeah.
But in my own home, yeah, I know what because I know what got me in this position originally. It wasn't the fruits or the vegetables per se. It was the junk food and the takeaways every night, each night, with
Okay.
those negative oils in them, those negative carbs in them. It wasn't part of the process. You see.
So, if I'm getting this correctly,
Mm,
you're on a healing journey. You're looking
mm,
90, you're looking day by day, but you're also looking at 6 months time and you're looking into your future self
yes.
with the possibility of reintroducing some foods that you like because you have healed to a point where you can reintroduce the peas or
Mm.
the lentils and the rice or whatnot.
And also
But
as well, Rose, is God will direct me and guide me because with God, you speak to me, He tells you no in your heart. He tells you no in your heart. Like for example, I wouldn't go now and buy a bag of potatoes,
right.
although I like potatoes. Do you see where I'm coming from? Because that's not a long term food for me right now. My body isn't healed completely for that level of potatoes now. If in future, God, because with God, He wants you to have self control, you know, and that's where people are kind of, missing it. Like for me, I had that um, dessert the other day just by myself, no partner with me, no kids with me, just me. Yeah, and that was a pie for a family, not just for one
Okay.
person.
Okay.
Yeah, so my me yesterday coming from the surgery and having zero and enjoying the process. So I wasn't going on, oh God, let me have a piece of that pie. You know,
Right.
it was zero craving, and I enjoyed the process that I got to today talking to you, and
Yes.
no crumble pie past my mouth.
I love it.
See,
So you're an overcomer.
mm,
You're on your road to your personal victory.
mm.
What other things will you be working on in the next 2 weeks?
Definitely. meeting my protein daily needs, apart from when I'm fasting, obviously. Okay. So I won't be under eating protein. Then I said to myself, Sandra, okay, remember the race is not for the swift. Yeah. I've got, because I put on the 3.5 kilograms that I put on, yeah, is that muscle, is that fat recompositioning, whatever they want to call it. Yeah. Yeah. Because I put that on eating ground beef, eggs, butter, and the other one, and normal beef. Yeah. So it is better for me to continue eating those foods to get to a baseline, rather than say, right, oh, let me change it this, because I don't want to change too quick and get nowhere, Rose.
So that's really you're on the actual right path, because in episode 2 you were mentioning like 3, 4, or 5 different things that you were
Mm,
going to try, but now it seems as though you settled into being willing to try that one thing versus all the things at one time.
yeah.
And I want to commend you for that, because my brain does that too. If I
Mm.
see glitter in the sky, I
Yeah.
don't want just a piece. I want all of it, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're settling into a pattern. You're being realistic with
Mm,
your fat and your protein intake, and you're
mm,
trying to get to your natural baseline at this point before you
mm,
change something else.
yeah.
So that's very commendable. You should
So
congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back.
yeah,
Yes.
because because 90 days for me eating low carb, zero carb, whatever has never happened. So I rather, because that apple crumble and dessert, yeah, thought it was gonna trigger a every week each week, but it didn't. So yesterday, when I heard the 3 kilogram put on, yeah, guess what? My brain didn't had nothing on, nothing had nothing on, had nothing to hold on to.
Pointing out is that the scale no longer has a hold over you mentally and
Yes,
emotionally, because
yes,
actually the work that needs to be done, this is what I want to share. The work that needs to be done in our minds, Sandra, in our
mm,
minds as humans, we want to see the number on the scale go down.
mm,
That's just
yeah,
natural. We're eating this way, we're doing all this work,
mm,
we're doing arm movements, we're grounding, we're getting out in the sunlight, we're doing all the things. And we expect to be able to lose that weight like a
mm,
machine, like a robot, right?
mm,
But that is not our body's concern. Our
yeah,
body's concern is first and foremost to start the healing process.
uh-huh,
And now that you're on the way to healing,
mm,
the weight loss is gonna take care of itself. It's gonna
yeah.
take care of itself and be on a back burner, right? But
And
we
also,
don't see the things on the inside that are
mm,
healing, that are getting better, and then when those things have been restored to where your
mm,
body feels safe to keep you
mm,
healthy and alive, then
mm.
the other effects will come into play, right?
I tell you, because this morning I woke up and I said, right, okay, Sandra, you got two choices: cover your head and not wash your head today, like I did yesterday with another interview I did. I wasn't in the mood yesterday, and but no, so I got up this morning, went to the shower, took off my hat or the shower cap, obviously, and washed my hair this morning. And look at it shining. And I said to myself, right, Sandra, look at you. You can good. I do look good from what I've been through recently. And I said, right, it's not a non-scale victory. You put on 3 kilograms, but look at your nice, gorgeous face. You know, you're glowing. You know, you see what I'm saying?
I
I'm not
hear you,
I'm not
sister.
getting
I
a
hear you.
spoon and eating all that ice cream yesterday. You
Yes,
see,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
so 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 that victory yesterday, coming back from the doctor's surgery. and with nothing in my mind about ice cream or takeaway or baked beans or bread. Or because what I would have done in the past, I said, right, okay, you put on 3 kilograms, start again tomorrow and have that bread again or beans again or dessert again. Yeah. And then start again midnight tonight tomorrow. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
You
No,
know,
no.
girlfriend, you and I are on the same pattern. Like if something messed up in our day and we took one bite, we just go for it the whole day. And then at
Yeah.
11:59, a new day starts at 12
Uh-huh.
o'clock. I get it, girl. But I like that you came back in less than 24 hours, even though
Mm,
you didn't want to wash your hair and do certain things. But you were
mm.
like, no, let's take off this shower cap. Let's go ahead and get on with our day. Look at the way your face is glowing in
Yeah.
spite of, the plus on the scale. That's not what's
Yeah.
happening here. There are other things going
And
on.
also as well, I must say this. Since the 19th of April, yeah, I feel good in myself. You know when you can feel that you feel bloated, you feel this and you feel that? I don't. And that's what I'm thinking. So when people ask me recently, do you think you've put on? I said to them, I don't know. Because to be honest, I don't. Because my facial and my it's been too good to be a negative, even though it's negative. Do you see I'm coming from? So I'm thinking, you know, so I'm not using the 3 kilogram gain as a binge party,
Amen.
for the first time, tangible, for the first tangible time,
But
you
it
know.
also sounds like you're using it as a jumping off point to
Mm,
increase your momentum because of the
yeah,
awareness that you walked away from that
yeah,
without going to some trigger foods or without feeling sorrow and
mm,
drowning yourself in food.
exactly.
So awesome. So,
Yeah.
Sandra, we're going to go ahead and get ready to close out this segment.
Hmm.
But can you tell us what you plan on doing? Because we're doing this every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I always like to close with what do you plan on working on that you're going to work on for the next 2 weeks?
Okay. What I plan to do over the next 2 weeks is not change anything too much, you know, because consistency is what I need to develop for going forward, you know. Let me get a total base. Let 30 days happen, where I don't eat any carbs per se. Let me conquer that one first. And then from there, I can look at other things. But let me just stick stick to something at least, rat 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 spanner in the works again, or hammer in the works, whatever they want to say, you know, because that yesterday what happened or the 2 days ago didn't come back. The urge to eat the ice cream and the dessert and the custard didn't come back. That means I don't need it. Because I was asking myself, I don't put sugar in my tea. Why am I needing it per se? So it's to basically accept that I've put on 3 kilograms, but not butcher myself up about it.
Amen. Amen. So, with all of this awareness, this
Mm,
momentum, this increased self esteem, and you saying that what you're going to work on for the next 2 weeks is consistency. So, Sandra, if I
yeah.
ask you that for the next 12 months, if we're still having conversations, or even the next 2 months,
Mm,
and you keep that as your main thing, when I ask you, what are you working on? That is going to be so phenomenal because over time, you're going to look
mm,
back and say, well, all I committed to was keeping the
yeah,
main thing, which
yeah,
is consistency, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? So that's all it is, one step forward and maybe 2 steps back, and then maybe 6 steps forwards and
Mm,
maybe 6 steps backs, who knows? But you
yeah.
being willing to be
Mm,
consistent for the next 2 weeks as your
yes,
goal is a
yeah,
hallelujah, girl,
yeah.
hallelujah.
'Cause I'm not gonna let the 3 kg of yesterday's gain knock me off.
Absolutely not.
You see.
Absolutely not.
So I still came home, as I said yesterday, and had the ground minced beef. I still had the sausage. I still had the eggs. Still had the avocado. I didn't order a box of chocolate takeaway and ice cream. You see, but in the past, yeah, that would have happened. I would have said, right, okay, I gained 3 kilograms. Let me have my apple crumble and dessert and start again tomorrow, but not yesterday. That was a tangible non-scale victory for me. And I only ate one day yesterday. I only ate
Yeah.
one meal yesterday.
Yeah. So are you going back to OMAD or are you kind of teetering
Mixed,
back and forth?
back and forth, back and
Okay.
forth. Mainly OMAD, just to you know to keep consistency, but at the
Mhm.
same time, because there's a guy on America, it's a Jamaican guy that is a mature man. He does cooking, but he's not carnivore, and he loves his cooking, you know. And I said to myself, but I need to sometimes I need a bit of variety. So I'm thinking I'll be watching those videos about cooking more stewy kind of things,
Okay.
you know. So because I'm not, you know, I'm going to be honest. I do like my stews every now and again, you see, but I'm not going to fry it and smother it in too much oil and things like that, you see, because that's why I need to have a bit of balance. Sometimes this, sometimes that, sometimes like with me, chicken wings. I used to love chicken wings, but no craving whatsoever for chicken wings anymore. Things are changing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got to develop my own um, food, meats that I like to enjoy. You know, not based on what you like, but based on what I like.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm feeding myself, and I'm the one in 6 months' time that will know what I'm having for turkey this Christmas or whatever I'll be having this Christmas. But unless I experiment, because like for example, oxtail, I love oxtail, but I haven't ordered it lately because my heart doesn't crave it. But when it does, it will get it.
There you
And my face right now, looking at this camera, I'm happy with my results right now. The joy, my glow. You see.
Yes. I am
Mhm.
so proud of you. You are blossoming in our short conversations that we've had thus far. I see you blossoming and just
Thank you very
opening up
much.
and becoming the spiritual, the human form, whatever you want to say, being that you are destined to be. The
It's
shine is
June.
always there. The light
Yeah,
is always there.
it's June right now, Rose. It's June right now, and there's many more months by December. Yeah, and for me, yeah, to step into July, yeah, like the way I'm now, will mean a lot. It will mean a lot to me.
Yes.
Let me step in. So I'm not gonna let the 3 kilogram weight gain, yeah, block me anymore.
Yes.
You see, let me use that as a healing process where my body is healing. It's sleeping at night. It's healing. You know, I wake up in the morning. I have my grounding outside. You see, and that's what I'm thinking of as well. That healing, that
Yeah.
3 kilogram of gain could be a good gain to get back all my organs and hormones back into the way it should be.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes,
see.
ma'am. You never know, but the only thing that you need to do is, like you said, just stay consistent, keep
Mm,
focused, and just keep going no matter what.
yeah.
So, Sandra, thank you for being so open as we close out on part three. Do you have any words that you'd like to close with?
No, I just want to say to your viewers who are Christians these 4 words: protect, reject, cling to God, sing. So
Man, sister, thank you. All right, friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment and following Sandra's journey. This is Coach Rose AJ signing out. And until next Thursday, have a blessed day and week and keep working on you. All right, guys, bye bye.